Hey guys, so this is gonna be a pretty serious video. So trigger warning, I'm gonna be talking about death, abuse, addiction, like things of that nature, suicidal thoughts, stuff like that. So it's gonna be some serious shit. Okay, so the reason why I'm even making this video is because this whole situation with DMX has just been weighing on my heart, like, since it happened. Just because, like his story and how, like, his addiction to drugs really, you know, was really pretty much his downfall, really, unfortunately. And it just got me thinking about, you know, what I've experienced when it comes to addiction and things like that. So, like, I've dealt with that, like, I've had people addicted to drugs, people addicted to alcohol, things of that nature. So I've experienced stuff like that. Actually, both of my parents were alcoholics. My mom was more of a functioning alcoholic, and like how she was nowhere near how my dad was. Like, my mom was cool. Like, my mom didn't act different when she drank. You know what I'm saying? She didn't. My dad, on the other hand, was a whole different person when he drank. Like, when he wasn't drinking, my father was cool as fuck. He was funny as fuck. You know, just always remember just telling me and my brothers just stories about his life and stuff like that, and just stuff that I learned from my dad. But when he drank, he was a monster. Like, my father would get violent. He would be verbally abusive. Well, hell, my father was kind of verbally abusive when he wasn't drinking, but, like, it would just get really bad. And my father has even gotten physical with my mom, my brothers, myself. So that's something that I've experienced. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think of it as, like, you got two different people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I can equate it to, like, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type shit. Like, he was cool when he wasn't drinking, but he was a whole different person when he did drink. And, you know, just thinking about just the shit I went through growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad had been drinking since the age of 9. You know, from 9 years old to the age of 44 when he died. And because of that is the reason why I don't really drink like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I barely drink. Like, I have to be in the mood to drink, and I'm never really in the fucking mood to drink. Like, I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs. I even get paranoid when I have to take fucking medication because I'm just scared. I don't want to accidentally get addicted to it. So, like, I get kind of paranoid when I have to take certain medications. Like, when I would, for instance, when I would get, like, a tooth pulled and it would give me oxycodone or, like, some strong shit, I'm scared to take it. Like, I'm scared that you know, I don't want to, like, get addicted to it. I remember when I got my first panic attack, they gave me Xanax. They gave me 4, but I was like, because I just heard so many stories of people getting addicted to, like, prescription pills and shit. So I was like, I don't know, like, I just know that it's, like, really, like, it's not nothing to fuck with. So I was really paranoid. So, like, stuff like that. So, you know, I've had people wanting me to smoke weed, and I'm like, I just don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't judge people that do. Like, I don't. Like, you do that, that's cool. I'm not going to judge if you do. I just personally don't do that. That's just that. If you drink, that's cool. You know, so as long as you're not, you know, going overboard, that's cool too. Like I said, I have drank. I'm not going to say I don't drink at all. I have drank, but I just don't drink. I can't even say occasionally. I can't even say socially. I just have to be in the mood, and usually it's just wine. You know what I'm saying? It's just why I don't drink hard liquor. I don't drink beer. I think beer is kind of gross, but yeah, I drink wine, and I'm at home, so I'm not out and about. Like, even when I went to the club, like, I would go to the club and I would have one drink, but you know, drinks in the club, that's just watered down any fucking way. So I didn't really feel shit, and I would have one drink because I know I'm like, I gotta drive home. So like, I took that shit very seriously. So like, I wouldn't even feel shit because I said, you go to the club, that shit's watered down any goddamn way. So I was like, okay, I gotta drive home, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely didn't drink. So yeah, that's just me and alcohol, just don't do it. But you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's just like, I've never talked about my dad because it's a lot. Like, to the point where, like, I don't think I've even told my friends. So this is surprising for anyone that knows me, that watches this. Yeah, like, yeah, so yeah, just seeing like addiction, like what it does. Like, you know what I'm saying, my dad, like, he drank a lot. Like, he would wake up with a fucking beer. He would constantly go to the liquor store. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad drank malt liquor. He drank, that was mostly his drink of choice, is malt liquor. Slits Bull malt liquor, like that. You know what I'm saying? But my dad, he drank like tequila. My dad was never really a wine guy, but that was mostly like malt liquor was his drink of choice. But like, he drank like tequila, and like, so he drank like hard liquor and shit like that. So like, but like I said, growing up, I didn't know really what addiction was. I just thought that was the norm growing up. But as I got older, like, I've seen him, you know, how he would treat certain people, like just how he treated people around him when he would drink. And it was just really fucked. He was mean, and you know, so he was just talking to people all types of crazy and shit like that. But yeah, like, eventually that shit started catching up to him, to where, like, I remember 5 years prior to my dad passing, the doctors told him, it was like, listen, if you don't stop drinking, you're going to die. And they were fucking accurate. So I think at that point, instead of my father just like waking the fuck up and saying, I need to stop drinking, I have a wife and like 3 kids, you know what I'm saying, that I need to take care of, I just felt like, part of me feels like he just gave up and just said, fuck it. So I have resentment for that, because I feel like, part of me feels like he chose the bottle over his family. So again, trigger warning, I'm going to be talking about my dad dying and stuff like that. So like, when I heard about DMX's state, when they said that he was in a vegetable state, I'm like, it immediately reminded me of when my dad died, because my dad was in the same situation. So I don't remember really what led to him going to the hospital. I just remember pretty much shit just shut down, and I take him to the hospital. And I remember, so me and my brother, we would take the city bus, and the city bus would, like, public transportation, so it's like New Jersey Transit, that's public transportation out here in Jersey. So we would hop in the bus like any other day, and it would ride the bus, the route would take us by the hospital. So we're riding by the hospital, and just so happened we were sitting next to each other on the bus, and then next thing you know, we noticed the car, our parents' car, and we look at each other like, what the fuck is going on? Now mind you, we didn't have cell phones at the time, so we couldn't call our mom. We're like, yo, what's good? Like, what's up? So I remember we got off the bus and we walked into the house, and my neighbor come out, and she was like, hey guys, just letting you know that your dad went to the hospital, and your mom told me to tell you that she's gonna call you when she can. So we're like, okay. So we were just kind of just in the house, like, none of our friends came over, we didn't go outside, we just stayed in the house. Normally I would go on my computer, like I would go online, but then, at the time, dial-up, you know how dial-up was, you fucking once you're on the internet, you can't get through the phone. So we was waiting for our mom to call, so we were just kind of just like sitting around. And so yeah, my mom told us, you know, what happened. I think pretty much he got up from I can't remember. This happened 15 years ago, so it's like before, damn it, 15 years. So it's kind of hard for me to remember, but I just remember like something about he got up and then like he hit his head, and then that's kind of like, I don't know. Like I said, it's I can't remember, but yeah. So yeah. And I remember my mom came home, and you know, she was like, yeah, he's still in the emergency room. It's on the 3rd. So I remember we went to bed, and that morning, it was a Friday. I remember it was a Friday. And the phone rang. Now, normally, when someone calls you that early in the morning, it's either two things. Someone's locked up or someone's dead. And I immediately thought, oh my God, he died. But no, they just told us that they had to move him to the ICU. It got pretty bad. We had to come down to the hospital. So that's what we did. So we get to the hospital. We had to wait some time before we can see him. I say it was about maybe 9 o'clock. So we had to wait like about an hour, like 2 hours. And they said, okay, you can come into the room. Now, no one gave us a warning about what he was going to look like. So I'm used to going to the hospital, seeing my dad, and he was up talking all this shit. What I saw traumatized me to the point where I had nightmares for months after my dad died. So I walk in the room and I just see my dad laying in the bed with, you know what I'm saying, was he in a ventilator? He might have been in a ventilator. But like his eyes were like all over the place. Like he wasn't talking. He was just laying there. He looked like he was dead, to the point where I ran out the room and I burst out in tears. Like that scared me so bad. Like just like how when I saw my mom, I was the first person to see my mom, and that stuck with me. It kind of pops up in here sometimes, but before after my mom died, it'll just pop up randomly in my head. So that really fucked with me for a long time. And that's when that's when it was explained to me like he was in a vegetative state. So that's pretty much what happens. Like you look like you're pretty much dead. Like your eyes will move. You may have some, you know, something might move, like your hand might twitch and stuff, but you're not talking. You're not up. You're just kind of just like laying there. So I just remember throughout the day, you know, my uncle came. My other uncle actually worked at the hospital. So he would, you know, he would work in a different, you know, ward. So he would come and, you know, see us and stuff like that. And then my brother was locked up at the time. So, you know, we had to make a call to where he was at, because they was like, yeah, he's not looking too good, yada, yada, yada. So my brother, they picked him up from jail to come see my dad, and that had been the first time I probably had seen him in God knows how long, because he was locked up. And then, so we fast forward to that night. So it's now the 1st, October 1st, 2005. It's about 4, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at all. And I remember it was about 4 or something. I say maybe around like 4:30. I'm in the room. My mom is talking to my uncle, and you know, I'm just staring at my dad, just like staring at him. I'm just like, all I could do was stare at him. And it's like he's looking at me, but I know he's not looking at me. And I remember I had to go to the bathroom. I come back, and I'm just standing in the doorway, and then I hear beep. And then I remember my heart literally stopped. But then it started again. Beep. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? But then it started up again. Once that last beep, that was it. He was gone. So I stood there and watched my father take his last few breaths. And again, that was something else that traumatized me. Like, I just literally watched someone die. And like I said, I felt my heart stop. Like, I literally felt it stop. And I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. I just kind of stood there. And I remember my mom, she reached for me, and I just, like, you know what I'm saying, like, a lot of that kind of just, like, I kind of, like, feel like I blacked out for a second. And then I just remember going to tell my brother and waking him up and telling him that he was gone. And yeah, that was it. And I remember we went to see him before, you know, they had to go take him. And after, it was only like a few minutes, and he was just cold. Like, he was cold. And we just kind of just stood there in silence. Me, my mother, my brother, and my uncle. That was tough. That was tough. And then, you know, having to go through the process and, you know, going through the, you know, dealing with the funeral and yada, 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 all that stuff. It didn't hit me that he died until when we went back to school. And I remember walking in the house, and I'm used to my dad in the living room watching Judge Judy like clockwork, and then we walked into an empty house, and it was dead silent. Silent. That's when I realized he was gone. And that's when, you know, we had to just continue living life after that. And then that triggered my depression. I didn't know what depression was. I didn't know what depression was. I've never been through nothing like this before. I've dealt with death before, yeah, but not depression. And I was in denial. But I just got so fucking sad. And to the point where, like, I was eating a lot. And to the point where I gained weight so fast. To the point where people thought I was pregnant. Because I went from being, like, petite to being, like, I was, you know, a bit bigger. And then that triggered people to constantly tell me I gained weight. Like, I don't fucking know I gained weight. I look in the mirror every fucking day. I know that shit. But just having to constantly hear people tell you, oh, Jay, you were so skinny. What happened? My dad died. That's what happened. I never said that, but I'm just like, my dad died. Like I said, people thought I was pregnant. And I remember, like, this one incident. Like I said, it was constant, yo. It was fucking constant. Like, people would always mention the fact that I gained weight. And it was becoming too much. Like, you walking down and you see people and you run to people and be like, oh, Jay, you were so skinny. What happened? First of all, I was never skinny. I may have been petite, but I was never skinny. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it fucked me up to the point where I didn't want to be here anymore. And what was like the nail in the fucking coffin for me was it was around time for prom. And I'm minding my business. I'm walking to lunch. And it's this one bitch I didn't really like too tough. And she just walked up to me. She was like, hey, Jay, I just wanted to ask, like, are you fat or are you pregnant? And part of me wanted to fuck her up, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna give her that. I ain't gonna give her that. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not about to stoop down to her level and get into a fight and lose my prime. I'm not losing my prime for this bitch. So I just rolled my eyes and kept it moving. But that was the moment where I was like, I'm so sick of this shit. I'm dealing with losing my father, and now I got people constantly mentioning and just like kind of talking, like just kind of making fun of the fact that I gained weight. And I just had thoughts. I'm like, what if I wasn't here anymore? Like, I don't want to be here anymore. So that was the first time I dealt with depression, and I dealt with suicidal thoughts. I didn't tell my mom that. My mom didn't know that at the time. And that followed me for years. I gained weight, and it stayed that way. I just said, fuck it. I never attempted to lose weight. My mom never pressured me, so I said, fuck it. I said, fuck it. So, like, so yeah, that was tough, you know what I'm saying? Losing my dad to pretty much alcoholism led me to dealing with depression of his death, and also dealing with suicidal thoughts because my dad died due to alcoholism. So the point of me saying this entire story is just telling people that this is the effects of what addiction does, or what it can do to people. Like, this is my story. This is the shit that I've experienced. I lived through this. So this is just, I just want people to understand, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because like I said, I'm thinking about what happened with him, and you know what I'm saying? Just thinking about, like, what this could possibly do to his family. You know what I'm saying? Someone, you know, some people may not be able to take this well. I don't know. It's possible. But, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You know, dealing with someone that, you know, was an alcoholic. Like I said before, my mom was an alcoholic as well, but she was more of a functioning alcoholic. Like, she drank, like I said, she had like a drink a day. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't to the point like how my dad was, but she had a drink. She had a drink every, you know what I'm saying, whenever she would come home from work, she'd have a drink or whatever. But like I said, she was a functioning alcoholic. It wasn't to the point where like it affected her job or anything like that. So, but yeah, my mom, she drank as well. And yeah, so that could possibly be how like the cancer got to her liver. I'm not sure, but yeah, like I said, this is just me kind of just telling my story, and people, you know, some people can relate, some people probably can't. Again, if this was triggering for you, you shouldn't have been watching it. Like, I definitely made a warning before, like, but either way, I'm sorry if this triggered you, but this is my life. This was my story. You know what I'm saying? I deal with this still, you know, and I'm 30. I'm about to be 32 next week. You know what I'm saying? I have to now deal with the fact that I don't have either of my parents. You know, obviously my dad died because of, you know, alcoholism. My dad died from cancer, but it sucks. It sucks, like, you lose a parent, but the fact that you lose two parents, like, this is something that I have to deal with for the rest of my life. So it's not gonna be easy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been not so sad, but I've been just feeling kind of bummed out lately because, you know, it's my birthday soon, and, you know, this is the second year I don't get to spend it with my mom. So you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'm sorry this was like really serious video, and I talked about some serious shit. And like I said, this is things that I don't talk about. I don't really talk about with my family. I damn sure don't. I don't think I've even told this to my friends. I don't think they know about this. I don't think I ever told them about that. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting conversation. But yeah, so I'm gonna go because I have the week off. So I'm going to try to enjoy my week off, and plus my birthday's on Wednesday, so that's to be more happier mood and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go, and I will see you guys next time.